What are you afraid of? Whatever it is, it's here. That and things your little rational mind couldn't even dream of.
Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome, come on in.
All right, well, welcome to the first Rogue Cthulhu podcast.
The yet untitled Rogue Cthulhu podcast.
More on that in a few moments.
I am Mark from Rogue Cthulhu.
And I'm Byron, Black Hand from Rogue Cthulhu.
And for any people who don't know who we are or what we're doing here, let's talk very briefly about what Rogue Cthulhu is and what we want to do with this podcast.
Good question, Mark. What is Rogue Cthulhu?
Rogue Cthulhu is a group of very passionate gamers, mostly role-playing. We got our start at Origins Gaming Fair in Columbus, Ohio, in 1999, and we've been going strong ever since and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We've also branched out into a couple other smaller cons. We've been to AntCon, we've been to Pulp Fest, we're going to be going to the Groundhog Day
Gaming Retreat,
and the subject of this podcast is Con on the Cob.
Yes, our third Con on the Cob. Fourth Con on the Cob. 3 down, 1 to go type deal.
Rogue Cthulhu is focused primarily on role-playing, the Call of Cthulhu game system, Lovecraftian horror role-playing, if you're not familiar with it. I am the head admin. I've been there since its inception.
Now pretty much what they call the small con coordinator, basically the monkey with the most responsibility.
Okay, what we want to do with this podcast is to obviously reach some new fans, people maybe who don't know about us, want to hear about what we're doing and get involved with that, and also to help keep our myriad of loyal fans informed on our activities and the latest and greatest things coming down the line for them.
That's right, because cool things go on with Rogue Cthulhu at Origins, cool things go on and Con the Cob, and some myriad of other different conventions that we're making small appearances at. Stuff happens all year round for us, and we're constantly working on perfecting the show, getting better, adding more things to the mix.
And we've got new ideas that we're always coming up with, ways to improve the club, ways to improve our show, and we want to use this podcast to let people know what we got coming up. And the purpose of our first episode here is going to be Con on the Cob. Before we get to that, we want to mention that as a feature that we'd like to include in this podcast, we want to solicit our listeners for questions, a rogue mailbag, if you will.
Yeah, not douchebag, mailbag.
And the first assignment for all of you out there is help us pick a name for this podcast.
Absolutely. We could use some creative licensing help.
We've sat here for a few minutes trying to think of a good name, and we were unsuccessful. We'd come up with a couple, but they were either too cliche or already taken. So you can contact us through email at roguecthulhu@roguecthulhu.com, or you can also contact us through our Facebook page. We're fairly active on the Facebook.com/Rogue Cthulhu.
Yeah, I think so.
The website, you could normally reach us through the website also, except we don't do a very good job of keeping that updated. But we're going to work on that.
It's one of the things that's going to be changing.
Right, so this episode is going to be centered primarily on Con the Cob, which is our upcoming con. That's going to be in about 2 weeks from now, October 15th through the 18th.
Yep, 2015. Richfield, Ohio.
At the Days Inn and Suites. And we've been to Con on the Cob several times. This is I think our 4th appearance, and it's certainly going to be our largest. The con has just recently moved to a new hotel. This will be the first time at the Days Inn and Suites in Richfield.
And they have graciously given us big, brand new digs.
Yeah, we got a room that is probably at least twice as big as the one we had at the previous hotel.
Which is great, because we want to bring you more Rogue Cthulhu goodness.
And we are bringing more. We're bringing as many events this year to Con on the Cob as we did our first year at Origins.
Which is exciting.
Or really close. We're doing in the ballpark of 30 RPGs. And in addition to that, we're also running 2 parties.
Because the Speakeasy last year was such a success that we're fired up for it, I'm telling you what.
Let's get back to the parties. Let's talk about the RPG, the games.
All right.
What we've got coming up.
Well, awesome. I'll tell you what, Con on the Cob 2015 is going to be fantastic. We have Richard and Heather Ferris join us, great players, awesome GMs. For the last couple of years, they've been running with us and playing with us for many, many years. Josh Langley stepping up to the helm this year and taking over. Of course, he was the grand champion, or whatever you want to call it, for the Rogue Invitational.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
No, that was Richard Ferris.
He was good, though.
He was good. He was my personal pick.
Richard Grieco, never played by anybody better, including Richard Grieco.
No, but that was Ferris who won the grand
I apologize.
champion. But Langley was really good as Richard Grieco, and he's going to be making his debut as a GM for us this year at CotC.
Some exciting adventures that we will get to in a few minutes here. Of course, Amber Wettig, who is a fabulous GM. Her events were pretty much sold out at Origins. And
that was her freshman year for us.
Absolutely.
She has run she used to run a lot of Werewolf at Origins.
Are You a Werewolf?
Are You a Werewolf, yeah. She did that a lot for several years, but I think this is the first GMing that she's done for role-playing at Origins, and she had a phenomenal freshman year.
Right. Misty Long, veteran gamer, been around longer than myself. Her stuff is always maybe somewhat a little more lighthearted, and we'll touch on some more of that here coming up. Tom, we call him the Viking sometimes, Arnott. He thinks he's a Viking, he's really not. And of course myself, Byron Wingate.
And I'll be running some games myself also. I've been not running as many games as I used to back in the day. I've been spending a lot of time focusing on the production side at Origins, the administrative, and we do a big show at Origins. If you've ever been to Origins, we do a lot of lighting and special effects and sound and things like that, much more than you'll see in any other RPG group. And I've been putting most of my effort into that and haven't been doing nearly as much GMing as I used to. But I'm going to try to get back to some GMing, and this CotC is going to be kind of the start of that. I'm going to be running 5 slots this year.
Well, I guess to start out, let's talk a little bit about our GMs. Not only who they are, we mentioned them just a few moments ago, but what events are we running? On Thursday, October 15th, we're going to be starting at 6 p.m. in the Rogue Room. Our slots are typically 4 hours long. To give you an idea of what you're signing up for. Heather Ferris is going to be running A Night in Fog. Great adventure. We also have a Rogue Cthulhu iconic adventure, Mine on Mine. If you haven't had a chance to play it, tell you what, Marx is going to take you to a whole level of greed with that one.
That event is probably ran more times than any other Rogue Cthulhu event in history. That was one of the very first adventures I ever wrote back in 1999. It has run at almost every Origin since.
And of course, to wrap out the 3 slots we're running on Thursday night, we have Josh Langley with his GMing debut with Finding Emo. That's right, not Nemo, Emo. And then we have on October 16th, which is Friday, starting at 10 a.m. in the morning. Save your energy, because Rogue Cthulhu fun goes all day and night. We've got myself running End of the Stair, a brand new scenario. It's never run before. So some original material to see at CotC. And we have Tom Arnott running Final Approach, which is the second half. This is a sequel to the original Final Approach. And Heather Ferris running Lost Creek. Coming up at 2 o'clock p.m. we have Misty Long running Beauty and the Beast. We have Marx running Voices in the Valley of Dreams. Excellent adventure.
Also a very old adventure. That was from the first year also.
And we also have Richard Ferris running Ghost Island, which is run for a couple different cons now. Excellent game. Definitely making a suggestion for there. And I'll be running Fetch the Devil, another new scenario for CotC. At 6 o'clock p.m., we have Misty running a brand new scenario called The Enchantment Game. We have Amber Wittig running Heist, which she ran at Origins, and also going to be debuting it at CotC. We have No Rest for the Wicked by Tom Arnott, and I'll let Mark allude to this one a little bit more, but the one adventure that can cause us to get banned, AC/DC.
Well, probably not going to get banned from CotC, but it could possibly get us banned at some other places. It has been banned at Origins. It hasn't gotten us banned, but it has gotten banned, at least by the current administration, because it is an adult-only adventure, rife with sexually explicit material. This is definitely not for children.
Absolutely. And then, of course, finalizing the night, we'll be wrapping up with the Rogue Cthulhu Speakeasy Party.
Yes, we're going to have 2 parties this year. Friday night is going to be the first one. We're calling it the Friday Night Speakeasy. It's going to have a 1920s theme. We've been putting together decorations and music and buying a lot of booze, getting ready for this party. We had one last year, and it went extremely well. By about 11:30, I think we were the only event still running last year on Friday night.
Including the parties.
Including the other parties. If you've never been to Con on the Cob, there are multiple parties throughout the
debauchery
weekend.
is strong.
And we had ended up absorbing, I think, most of the party goers by, say, midnight. And we actually got kicked out of 2 rooms, and they tried to shut us down 3 times. We eventually wrapped things up at about 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, they couldn't serve us breakfast.
Yeah, they needed the room to serve breakfast, so they had to finally throw us out at about 4:30. But we had probably 40 to 60 people in the room at any given time, and much alcohol was consumed. So we're going to try and build on that this year. We're going to put a little more effort into it than we did last year as far as the theme and decorations and stuff. And then we're having another party Saturday night.
Yep. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's talk about the events for Saturday. That's October 17th at 10 a.m. in the morning. We want to give you a little time to recover from the speakeasy. Some people can't, go through the party and then be right back running again. But, us at Rogue Cthulhu, we're pretty good at it. So
we've got some practice.
We like the 1-2 hours of sleep and, get started again.
And some of us, have had a lot of practice at running with hangovers.
Yeah. We got Josh Langley will be running a second episode of Finding Emo, and Richard Ferris running a brand new slot. It's called The Unwanted. I read the description. I'm telling you what, it gave me the creeps already. So it's in an orphanage, and it has to do with children. It's going to be good. I'm sad that I probably won't be able to play in it because I'll be running Fetch the Devil. Then at 2 o'clock p.m., we have Tom coming on board running some stuff with Night Soil. This is a Cthulhu Dark Ages adventure. Tell you what, you thought Cthulhu was scary when you had pistols and access to weapons? When you have a dagger and a longsword, if you're lucky, yeah, it makes it a little more frightening. So good adventure. I played it in Origins. Definitely suggested there. We have a new adventure being run by me called End of the Stair. Kind of Nazis 1939 Tibet type deal. Should be quite a lot of fun. I'm going to go see Everest this weekend just to get some inspiration for descriptions and stuff like that. We have Misty running a second running of the Enchantment game. And we have Josh debuting a brand new adventure at 2 o'clock on Saturday called Noodling. Nothing like some kitty fisting Cthulhu going on.
Kitty fist?
Kitty fisting. You didn't know that's what it was called?
No, I never heard that term. I went somewhere totally different with that.
Oh, he's going to also. Don't worry. And then, of course, we have Mark wrapping up the 2 o'clock slot with the very Brady Walpurgis Nacht.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Witch's Night, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's German. Walpurgis Night.
It's
Walpurgis Night. It's a holiday, pagan holiday.
And then at 6 o'clock, we've got another 5 great games for you guys. We've got The Ascension being run by Amber Wettig, which is a brand new slot for her. She's creating another one just for Con the Cob. And then we have Mark's running The Greater Good. Great adventure, been run quite a few times.
Yeah,
Still
I'm going to try
solid.
and retool that a little bit. I haven't been happy with the way that's run in the past. It just hasn't been coming out the way I had originally envisioned it. So I'm going to try something different with it this time. So you just have to see how that goes.
And then we also have Misty running Beauty and the Beast, which sounds Disney, but it's more based off the old storybook fairy tales than it is the Disney version of things. Which, until she explained it to me, I really didn't know what was up.
Yeah, she does a whole line of fairy tale related Cthulhu adventures, and she goes off of the old Grimm's fairy tale version. And people who grew up on Disney don't realize exactly how dark most of those stories originally were.
Yeah, very, very different, for sure. And then I'm wrapping up the 6 o'clock slot with Last Rites on Bowden Hill, which is kind of a precursor to a previous adventure that has never run a Con the Cob, might next year though. It's in Reformation England. At 11 o'clock, we'll be breaking down the RPGs and setting up the Halloween horror costume party / 2D6 performance. 2D6 is probably one of the most prolific nerdcore groups in the convention scene right now, and good friends of ours in addition to that, and they'll be joining us for our very own private performance of their music, and of course booze and fun and games.
Oh, and costume contest.
And costume contest.
We forgot to mention that there is actually going to be a costume contest for the Speakeasy also. That's going to be a period theme. The person who has the best Prohibition era costume is going to be get awarded prizes. And then for the Saturday night party for the horror, there's also going to be another costume contest. And that's going to be just more a general Halloween type costume contest. And it also should be noted that there is another costume contest at Con on the Cob Saturday night, a little bit earlier. I think it's like 8 or 9. That's the official Con on the Cob costume contest,
which has no specific thing, so you could very well enter our contest and theirs with the same concept.
Yeah, it just gives you double the chances to win.
Right.
So after you've already got your costume on, right, for the Con on the Cob costume contest, come on down to our party and enter again.
And have some drinks. And after that, on Sunday, which is going to be October 18th, we'll be running 3 games. We have Wings in the Woods with Amber Wittig. We have Final Approach 2 with Tom Arna. And another running of Noodling. So you got a second chance to get some kitty fist in action.
Are you serious? Actually, what's what they call that?
I can't make this shit up.
Well, you can.
Well, I could. Right. Yeah, nothing like Redneck's Cthulhu and Muddin.
We wanted to mention also that since, in case you're not that familiar with Rogue Cthulhu or what we do at different conventions, in addition to running some of the best Call of Cthulhu adventures out there at conventions, we also have prizes available to all our players. We have a huge spread of prizes that we've labored to put together. We've solicited various artists and companies for donations. We've supplied things of our own. We've invested in purchasing prize material. And this year at Origins, our prize table took up like 2 banquet tables. It was huge.
Absolutely. And it should go to mention too that, for great role playing in any of our Rogue Cthulhu events, you can earn, kind of subjective GM wise, but you can earn rogue points, which are, an icon on a poker chip that you can use to get that stuff off the prize table.
Right. There used to be I haven't played an RPGA game in ages, so I guess they still do it. I don't know. But they used to, if there were any prizes available at all, they would basically have the players vote on who they thought was the best player, and that player would get the prize, and everybody else got squat. We do things a little bit differently. The GM is to his discretion, can pass out these point chips anytime during the game to any player whenever they do something they think is particularly worthwhile. Impressive.
Right. I mean, some things that I've given rogue points for: impressive rolls at a climactic point in the adventure.
Coming up with a unique idea.
Unique ideas.
Just really great role play, too.
And of course, cracking a joke that makes me laugh my ass off is always good, too.
And then you can take those point chips and take them up to the prize table, and it's a self-serve kind of deal. There's a little can there that you drop your chips in, and all the prizes have little point values, and it's just like turning in skee-ball tickets at Chuck E. Cheese.
And they don't expire.
And they do not expire.
They're good forever.
You can take them with you. You can save them up. We've had people who have been saving up rogue points for years, and they'll come back, and we have little prizes, that you can walk away with right away. We have big prizes that you can save up for over a number of cons.
Or if you play enough events, you can get them at one con.
Oh yeah, we've had people pool their points and get like really big prizes, like the first year they came out because they wanted to make sure that they got it. We're not going to have quite as extensive of a selection at Con the Cob, being a smaller con, but we're definitely going to take a nice selection of prizes for our players. So we want to see everybody at Con the Cob this October 15th through 18th, and we want you to spend as much time as possible in the Rogue Cthulhu room with us, gaming.
Yeah, as Andy Hopp would say, get your shiny wazoo to the Con on the Cob website and get your badge. Or, worst case scenario, show up at the door.
Oh, and it's probably worth mentioning to those who've not been to Con on the Cob recently, they no longer have ticket prices for like role-playing games. You just pay for your badge to get in, and then you just sign up for events, registration. They'll have like a sign-in sheet to see how many people are interested in playing, and whoever signs in first has priority when they sit down at the table.
But it's like one badge for all. I mean, the parties are free, the games are free, the art show is free, Everything is free.
The parties are going to be 21 and over because there is alcohol. You're welcome to bring anything that you like with you, but we are going to have an open bar for both parties. We are going to be checking IDs at the door, and we'll have wristbands, so 21 and over. And we're going to be doing our second podcast episode after the con to give a little post-con wrap-up, tell you how things went. Hopefully we'll have some really great stories to share. And then we'll probably touch on some other stuff, too.
We'll probably touch on the Groundhog Gaming Day retreat because we'll be turning in a schedule for November 1st. So we'll have that available to us for what's going to go on in January.
So I think we've pretty much covered everything that we wanted to cover for our inaugural episode of the Rogue Cthulhu As Yet Untitled podcast.
Right.
Looking to all of you to send in your submissions to Rogue Cthulhu at roguecthulhu.com or message us on our Facebook page to help us name the podcast.
You might even win yourself something.
Maybe.
Maybe you'll come up with a prize.
No promises.
No promises.
We're looking for the second episode to come out in early November for our post-Con the Cob wrap-up. Is that what we're shooting for right now?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so thank you all for listening. I hope you'll come back and hear more about our shows and our club and what we're doing and the things we have planned for the future. I'm Mark from Rogue Cthulhu.
And I'm Byron from Rogue Cthulhu.
Goodbye, everybody.
Stay classy, San Diego.